So I have a favorite question that I ask all the time, and it's what advice would you give to aspiring authors to get going?
Don't do what I did.
Yeah,
Great advice. No, I published my first book because that was my dream since I was 16 years old. And I went into it without any thought of marketing, promoting, websites, the future, whatever. I just wanted to hold my book in my hand, and that was my dream, and that was all I cared about. And I made it happen, and then suddenly I started selling, and people wanted, where's book 2 and where's your website? And I'm like, oh crap, I didn't do any of that. So get yourself out there and prepare and be ready for what's coming after you actually hit that publish button.
You gotta finish it. Don't shoot yourself in the foot and be like, well, this sucks, I can't finish this draft. You gotta finish a full draft. You will not understand the whole story until you finish, at the very least, a real piece of shit draft. You gotta make it to the end. Even if you're using brackets to be like, cool dialogue here, screw it, just keep going. I work at a writing center at a community college, and all the time 19-year-olds come in and they're like, well, I'm working on my novel, but I'm really stuck. And I'm like, do you have a full draft? And they every single time say no. And I'm like, well, that's your problem. You gotta finish the piece of shit draft and then take a beat and figure out what to do next, but you gotta finish it.
So rejection is part of the process. For me, it was a big part of the process. I've been rejected a lot, and I feel that really motivated me. It was actually a good thing, not when it happened. When it happened, I was sad. But looking back at it, it really motivated me to do the things I needed to do. Clean up my manuscript, apply to different places, send it to different companies. So it is going to be part of the process, and it can really be something that helps you along.
So I recently had a disappointment that kind of taught me a lesson, and I guess it would be advice that I would give someone else in my shoes, someone who can't stick to one genre, because I find it boring to stick to one genre. So I wrote my first children's book, or middle grade fiction book, because my kids asked me to write something that they could read, because nothing else I wrote was readable by them. So I wrote it without thinking it through. I used the same name that I'd been using to write everything else. And I find now that a lot of times when I reach out to schools or libraries or things like that, people are very, very excited about the book until they find out that I'm also a romance author and not merely a children's book author. So it's caused some challenges. Would I use a pen name if I could do it again? Probably. Am I going to make one now for those books? No, but learn from my mistakes.
I would say, so over the years, I've not always had as much time to write as I would like, but I find that if I write every day, even if it's only 10 minutes, I have a spreadsheet that a writing friend and I share, and we write in it. We just do a line each day and say how many minutes we wrote for, and we try to commit ourselves to 10 minutes a day. And I find if I just open up whatever I'm working on, even just for 10 minutes a day, my brain is half in my novel all day. If I'm driving, I'm the same as you, except I don't pull over. I just send myself, I don't write, I send myself voice to text memos constantly when I'm driving. But as long as I just open my manuscript once a day, I find that those ideas are kind of bubbling to the surface constantly.
Sam covered simply getting the book done, and that is very accurate. Just get it done, no matter how shitty the draft. But some other writing advice, I'm going to steal from my advisor from Bard College, Joseph O'Neill. He told me, if you can win the trust of the reader in the beginning of the story, afterwards you can get away with anything. So keep it grounded, keep it real, and once you have their trust, the story can be as outlandish as you want it to be.
The thing I wish I could go back and tell myself, and I tell everyone, is when you write your first draft, find at least 2 people and pay them to read it and catch all the typos, catch all the plot holes, catch everything. You think you're going to catch every single one of them. I promise you, you won't. if I could track down the self-published first edition of my very first book and burn every copy, I'm against book burning, but so help me God. When I see a beat up first edition, I'm just like, oh yeah, that's the one. I was like, oh, I love all the typos so that way they're canary marks. No one will go, yeah, that's what they are. That's what they are. I went from self-published to small press, and you're more likely to make that jump if you hire, and I mean hire and pay, so they actually do it, 2 people to read it and catch everything, because I know you will not do it. I thought I could do it. I was very arrogant, and I will pay for it for the rest of my life. Thank you.